Today we're making good quality coconut fudge and we're going to go straight into it. The first thing we want to do is start off with our dish. We are going to prepare the dish. Now we can do this both ways. We can either use oil or butter to grease the surface, or we can put in a piece of greaseproof paper. Let me tell you one downside of using greaseproof paper, why I do not really like to use this. I'm going to use it today, but why I don't really like to use it is because of the creases. So whatever crease it has here, it's going to come out at the bottom of the fudge. But if that is not an issue to you, then go right ahead. So now that we have that done, I'm going to set this aside. Let's work on the fudge mixture. So I have a pan and I have a heavy bottom pan. It's best to use a heavy bottom pan when making fudge. Now you can use a non-stick pan so that you would not have to deal with a lot of mess after. But this is not non-stick, but you may want to use a non-stick pan. And let me mention, even though you don't use a non-stick pan and use a pan like this, immediately after throwing out the mixture, place it in your sink to soak. Place some water in it and allow it to soak. So the first thing we're going to put in is our coconut milk, and I'm using fresh coconut milk. You can use coconut milk powder to create this, but the fresh milk is always the best when making coconut fudge. Next, I have my sugar, and I have 2 leaves of bay leaf, or some people may call it spice. I know this particular one as bay leaf. This is what I know as bay leaf. And I also have this one. Some people know this one as bay leaf. Normally I would not put it in, but today I'll just throw it in there. We're going in with our sugar. Don't worry, all the ingredients would be listed and their quantities above the video, so I have you covered. In here I have some condensed milk, and let me tell you something. The trick to getting a really nice fudge is a good quality condensed milk. That is one of the tricks to getting a really good fudge. Not a cheap condensed milk, but a good quality condensed milk. So we have that in there now. And I'm going to put in my ginger. Let me mix it a bit. It would have settled a bit, but I want that below there, that starch. So I'm just going to mix it a bit. Right, and I'm going to pour it in here. This gives your fudge a really nice kick. A lot of persons do not know about it, but I do, and I'm going to put it in there. Now we want to put a little pinch of salt in here. Salt tends to bring out flavors. I always say it, if you are regular here, you will know it tends to accentuate flavors. So even when you're making a coconut bake, if you want a real good coconut flavor, for me, I need to put enough salt. So next I have some butter, but we're not going to put that in now. Some people put it in, but we're not going to put it in now. And I also have some mixed essence. You can use vanilla essence if you wish, or vanilla extract. I am also not going to place that in now, but we're going to set it aside because we are definitely going to need it a little later on. So now what we are going to do is we're going to mix this a bit. Remember, we have the condensed milk in here, the coconut milk. We have some salt, we have sugar, our ginger, and we have spices. And I can tell you, we are off to a beautiful start. So once I've mixed it a bit, let's incorporate it a bit, I'm going to put it to the stove top. Well, one of the things I want to show you before we go to the stove top is this. This is a bowl with some water, and a spoon. We need that to test our fudge to see when it's ready. A lot of us don't own a candy thermometer. So I'm going to show you how I saw my siblings do it. For those of you who don't know, I grew up in a house. Since I know myself, we have been selling. So I'm going to show you the spoon trick. So we're starting this off on high heat, and I'm going to mix. One of the things you need to know when making fudge is that you would have a lot of stirring to do, because we don't want the bottom just to burn at all. So I'm starting off with high heat, and as it thickens, I'm going to reduce the heat. One thing you want to be when making fudge is cautious, because this thing burns like crazy because of the amount of heat it traps. Now, I do not have any help with the camera today, and so I really hope I can show you all, because this can move very quick. Depending on how you do it, I start high and then go low. This can move very quickly. So let me slow it down a bit, because I really want to show you all how to test it. And because this can bubble so violently, you would want to use a deep bottom pot. So at this point, I'm going to remove all my leaves while I still have time. In it, you want to bring down the sides ever so often. So you're going to pass your spoon or your spatula, whatever you're using. You're going to pass it on the ends, edges, and you're going to bring it down. At this point, I'm cooking to remove any extra or excess liquid. So we're cooking and we're allowing the air to come through as we stir. Okay, what I'm gonna do is can you see my bowl and my spoon? Right. So I'm gonna take a little dip from here, just like this, and I'm gonna place it in the water. I hope you all are seeing. And when I place it in the water, it holds. This means it's time for this to come off the heat. But if it disintegrates or slowly runs off, if it disintegrates, you know for sure it's not ready. If it slowly runs off, it could harden a bit, but it sticks, so I need to get busy. So what I did is that I turn off the heat on the fudge, and I'm gonna add in my essence at this point. Right, I just like to put it in last because I find that the flavor is best that way. So we're gonna mix it in a bit. Right, and now we're gonna go in with the butter. Now there's a shine, and I hope you can see there's a shine at this point. When we put in the butter, it's going to become matted. It may take a little while to do so, so we need to mix it in. Remember, we have removed it off of the heat, and we're going to mix this in until the gloss is removed. Once that is achieved, it's time for us to place it in our prepared dish. While we are doing that, we're going to talk about the different texture of fudge. Now, when fudge is running like this, it normally means that as you place it into your mouth, it crumbles, it falls. So if you want a fudge that doesn't fall immediately as it hits your mouth, not toffee texture I'm talking about, but there are some soft fudge. Some people make soft fudge, so when it hits your mouth, it falls rather than gradually crumble like the traditional fudge. I'm not talking about a hard fudge either, but you know, you get this perfect crumble when you cook it a bit longer. It also means that it's going to be a bit darker than this. But when it's cooked longer than this, the integrity of the fudge is better, and so it lasts longer because more moisture is taken out of the fudge. However, when you do it like this, it's very easy to get a smooth finish like this. When you cook it longer, it's a bit more difficult to achieve. You need to use a wet spoon or some butter to smoothen off the top of it. Nevertheless, it all depends on how you prefer it. I did put back mine in the pot and allow it to cook a little more, hence the reason you would find it's a bit darker, because I did not want the flat fall. I wanted a gradual crumble. So I hope you enjoyed my video. God bless you. Love you.